They say love is when you'd follow someone anywhere. Well, I followed her to Los Angeles. Not because I wanted the palm trees or the movie magic. I wasn't chasing anything for myself. I came because of her. Her name was Rachel. And since college, she dreamed of being an actress. Not a celebrity. Not some influencer. An actress. Stage, screen, script. That was her heartbeat. When she talked about acting, her eyes lit up. She'd read scenes out loud while we waited for coffee. She cried watching Sophie's Choice. And me? I just watched her and thought, this woman was born for something big. So when she said, I think it's time to try LA, I didn't even hesitate. I said, let's go! It wasn't glamorous. We didn't fly first class or rent a fancy apartment in West Hollywood. We had one old Toyota, 3 suitcases, and just enough savings to last us maybe 3 months. But we had a plan. She was gonna chase the dream. And I'd be the one holding the ground beneath her feet. We rented a tiny studio in North Hollywood. I'm talking tiny. The kind of place where the bathroom door hits the bed if you open it too fast. We had one pan, no microwave, and 0 privacy. But we had each other. I picked up 2 jobs, food delivery during the day, valet at night. She hit auditions, workshops, networking mixers. Every day, she left the apartment with hope in her eyes. Every night, I came home half dead and smiling, because I believed in what we were doing. It wasn't easy, but it felt like something good. Like we were building a life that mattered. Weekends, if we were lucky, we'd grab $1 tacos and walk to the Santa Monica Pier. She'd point at the ocean and say, one day, I'll be in a movie that opens across the street from here. I'd nod and say, I'll be in the front row. And I meant it. Every word. That first year, I watched her light up the room at small showcases. She got callbacks. Some indie work. A commercial gig. Nothing big. But I was proud. So proud. I thought we were a team. Her chasing the dream. Me backing her up, no questions asked. But slowly, things shifted. She got quieter around me. More tired. More distracted. Always on her phone. Always saying she was meeting with someone about a script. She stopped asking how my day went. And I stopped volunteering it. I didn't think much of it at first. People change, right? Growth is messy. But the gap between us kept widening, and I felt it. I still loved her. Still believed in her. But for the first time since we landed in LA, I started to wonder. Was I the one chasing the wrong dream? If I had to sum up our second year in LA in 2 words, it'd be auditions and espresso. Every week felt like a blur of headshots, cold reads, and last-minute coffee runs. She started calling them opportunities. Every gig, every class, every connection, a stepping stone. And I believed that. I really did. I watched her pour herself into it. She'd rehearse lines until midnight. Take improv classes downtown, even though we barely had gas money. She showed up early to casting calls with 10 other girls, who looked exactly like her, all wearing the same shade of hopeful but desperate. And she never gave up. I was proud. Genuinely proud. But something else was happening too. Subtle at first. Her makeup changed. More dramatic. More camera ready, even on days with no auditions. New friends started showing up. Names I didn't recognize. Mostly girls from her acting classes or industry mixers. And every story started with, you should have seen what he said. Or, this director is doing this new project. Her world was shifting. And I was still parked in the same spot. Working doubles, folding pizza boxes, making polite small talk with rich people's valets. There was a night, I remember it too clearly. She came home after some showcase in Silver Lake. Lipstick smudged just a little. Perfume I didn't recognize. She looked lit up. But not by me. She dropped her heels by the door, tossed her purse on the table like we were strangers, and said, "Oh, tonight was magic." I asked, "How was the show?" She said, "It wasn't about the show. It's who was there." And then rattled off names. Casting directors, producers, some indie filmmaker with a scarf and a god complex. I just nodded. What else could I do? She wasn't being cruel, but I was becoming invisible. We used to talk for hours. Now, she'd scroll through her phone on the couch while I reheated leftover noodles. Her texts were always blowing up. New group chats. Coordinating photo shoots. Networking dinners with people I'd never met. Once, I asked if I could come along. She smiled, soft but distant. "It's not really your scene." Not my scene. I remember that line. It echoed. We still slept in the same bed. Still shared rent. Still kissed goodnight. But it felt like I was renting space in someone else's dream. One day, I dropped by her acting class with lunch. Figured I'd surprise her. Nothing dramatic. Just a little moment to say, "Hey, I see you." She was in the middle of a scene when I peeked in. And I froze. The way she looked at her scene partner. I hadn't seen that look in months. Not aimed at me, anyway. They were mid-dialogue, sure. But it wasn't just acting. It was intimacy. The kind you don't fake unless you've practiced it for real. When she finally saw me, her face shifted. Not guilt. Not even surprise. More like inconvenience. We ate lunch in the car. She was polite, but distracted the whole time. I went back to work that night wondering when exactly I stopped being a person and became a placeholder. I didn't bring it up. Didn't want to seem jealous or paranoid. I told myself, this is what it means to support someone's dream. To be in the background. To be patient. To wait your turn. But man, even the background gets tired of being painted over. They say love is blind. But honestly, I think it just makes you choose not to see. It started small, like all betrayals do. She told me she had a table read. Some new short film gig. Low budget. Passion project. That kind of thing. She was excited, and I didn't question it. But the reads kept happening. Late ones. Unscheduled ones. Last-minute reschedules. Always at night. Always. Just a quick scene polish. I didn't want to be the guy, the suspicious one. The overbearing husband who checks her phone or counts the minutes. So I said nothing. But I noticed. She stopped sharing her calendar with me. Her phone, once casually tossed on the couch, now followed her everywhere. Bathroom, kitchen, even when she was folding laundry. And there were new passwords. She laughed it off. Said she was trying to be more cyber safe. Right. From what? Me. The first time she came home after midnight, I was still up. Just scrolling on my phone, half watching late-night reruns. She walked in, makeup still fresh, hair perfectly done. Said they ran long. I asked what scene they were reading. She blinked, like she hadn't expected the question. "Oh, just scene 9. It was kind of heavy." Then she kissed me on the cheek and said she was too tired to talk. I believed her, because I wanted to believe her. Next night, same thing. And the next. And the next. Suddenly, I wasn't sure if she was chasing roles or chasing something else. She smiled a lot when she talked about the script. But it wasn't the way she smiled at me. It was fuller. Like whoever wrote those scenes had written himself into her heart, too. I remember one weekend, we were supposed to drive out to Santa Barbara. Just us, no work, no drama. She canceled last minute. Rewrites. she said. The director wants us to rework a few lines before Monday. I nodded. But inside, I felt it. The shift. The drift. It's weird how something as little as a missed weekend can make you feel completely abandoned. She'd started wearing a new perfume. Said it was a sample from a set she got on promo. It smelled like citrus and some expensive lie I couldn't name. The worst part? She was still kind. Still polite. Still said, "I love you," before bed. But it felt rehearsed. Like a script she was tired of performing. And me? I kept showing up. Like a stagehand fixing props for a play I no longer recognized. I told myself I was being paranoid. That it was just the grind of LA, the stress, the pressure. That she needed my support, not my suspicion. But deep down, a voice was starting to whisper. Something's not right. You know it. You just don't want to admit it. She got the role. It was small. Indie film, micro-budget, local crew shooting in Burbank. But to her, it was everything. Her first, real, part with lines and screen time and, more importantly, attention. She cried when she got the call. I remember hugging her so tight she could barely breathe. And me? I was genuinely happy for her. I told myself, this is it. This is what all those night shifts and double jobs were for. She was finally getting her shot, and I got to witness it. A week into filming, I decided to surprise her. She'd left early that morning, barely kissed me goodbye, hair in a bun, script in her hand. I stopped by her favorite coffee shop, grabbed her exact order, even picked up one of those stupid little lavender croissants she always said tasted like fancy soap. Figured I'd swing by set, be the supportive husband. Maybe meet the crew. You know, show her I'm proud. She never told me exactly where the shoot was. But it wasn't hard to figure out. Small set, warehouse-style building, tucked just off Magnolia Boulevard. I told the guy at the gate I was her husband. He smiled, waved me through. Said, "Stage 2, they're rehearsing right now." I walked in, quiet, so I wouldn't disturb anyone. The hallway was dark, lit by that weird buzzing overhead light that makes everything feel colder than it is. I passed a couple grip guys hauling gear, nodded, kept going. And then, I opened a door. Wrong door. Not stage 2. Not a break room. Definitely not a space for visitors. They didn't see me at first. She was laughing, that laugh I hadn't heard in weeks. He was close, too close. Some actor. Tall. Tan. Square jaw like he was printed from a casting agency catalog. Her hand was on his chest. His on her waist. And it wasn't blocking. It wasn't rehearsal. They weren't running lines. It was familiar. It was real. I just stood there. Like my feet forgot how to move. They didn't kiss. Not yet. But the space between their mouths? It was measured in heartbeats. She saw me. Eventually, her face dropped. Like a curtain falling. She stepped back so fast she bumped into a C-stand. Knocked over a light. The noise was so loud it snapped everyone around to attention. He looked confused. I looked numb. She stammered, "Babe, what are you doing here?" And I said nothing. I just held up the coffee. Her favorite drink, going cold in my hand. Her favorite pastry, now crushed in the bag. And then I turned around. Walked right back out into that humming hallway, past the crew, past the parking lot. Back to my car. Back to reality. All I kept thinking was, I wasn't supposed to see that. But God, I'm glad I did. Because sometimes, the only way to wake up is to walk in on the lie. Time didn't slow down. That's what everyone says, right? In that moment, time stopped. Nah. Time kept going. It was me who froze. I stood in that doorway, paper coffee cup still in one hand, the other clenched so tight around the bakery bag I could feel the grease bleeding through. She wasn't acting. Neither of them were. There was no camera, no lights, no crew calling action, just her, pressed up against that walking cliché of a co-star, sculpted jaw, smug eyes, shirt somehow always a little too unbuttoned. Her hand was still on his chest. His hand was at her hip, thumb hooked just under the hem of her blouse, like it belonged there. She turned first. That expression? It wasn't guilt. Not really. More like inconvenience. As if I'd shown up to the wrong dinner party. Like I was the one interrupting something I had no business witnessing. She opened her mouth, and I swear, for a split second, even she didn't know what excuse to reach for. But she didn't say it. Didn't even try the classic, "It's not what it looks like." Because we both knew. It was exactly what it looked like. He had the nerve to say something like, "Hey man, this is..." I didn't hear the rest. I wasn't listening. My ears were ringing. My whole body felt like it was vibrating in place. Anger, shock, disbelief, all fighting for front seat. But I didn't yell. Didn't throw the coffee. Didn't charge across the room. I just turned. Walked out the same way I came in. The hallway felt colder on the way back. Longer. Like it knew something I didn't. I got in my car, sat there for maybe 20 minutes. No music. No engine. Just me and the smell of lavender croissant and burnt espresso. And you know what the worst part was? I wasn't even surprised. Not really. Deep down, I think I'd been waiting for that exact moment. I just didn't expect it to come dressed in studio lighting and cheap perfume. She got home before I did. Of course she did. I'd walked out. She ran. When I pulled into the driveway, the lights were already on. She was waiting by the kitchen table, eyes red, makeup smudged like a student theater actress halfway through a monologue. Soon as I walked in, the waterworks started. I messed up. It didn't mean anything. He was just there. She kept saying that. He was there. As if geography was an excuse for betrayal. I stood there. Didn't sit. Didn't speak. She paced. Cried harder. You've been distant lately, she said. You're always working. And there it was. The greatest hits of emotional deflection. I wanted to laugh. But I couldn't find the breath. You think I wanted this? She asked, voice cracking. I looked at her then. Really looked. And for the first time, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger wearing her face, speaking lines she thought might save her from the truth. I finally spoke. Then who am I? She blinked. What? If he was just there at the right time, then what was I? For all these years? Was I just some placeholder between auditions? She didn't answer, because we both knew. I was the support beam, the one who held it all up. Worked doubles, missed weekends, paid the bills while she chased dreams under studio lights. And in her script, I was the quiet background character. Replaceable. Forgettable. She reached for my hand. I pulled it away. That hurt her more than anything I could have shouted. And I wanted it to. I needed it to. Because no matter how many tears she cried, how many times she called it a mistake, the moment she made that choice, she rewrote the story. And this time, I wasn't gonna stick around for the sequel. The days that followed weren't loud. No fights. No broken dishes. No dramatic exits. Just silence. That kind of silence that presses down on your chest and wraps around your throat like fog. She'd moved through the house like a guest who lost her invitation. Careful steps. Short sentences. Almost like she was afraid to wake something sleeping between us. But it wasn't sleeping. It was dead. And we both knew it. I didn't ask where she went during the day. She didn't ask if I'd be home at night. We shared a space, but not a life. Every morning, I'd get up before her, make my coffee in silence, leave the house without saying a word. Sometimes I'd find her sitting at the kitchen table, pretending to read a script, pages full of someone else's words. Fitting. There were scripts in a folder by the couch, hers, mine. Dreams we once talked about turning into something real. I didn't touch them. They felt like props now. Evenings were worse. We'd eat quietly, or not at all. TV would play in the background, just to fill the air with something. But even the noise couldn't drown out what had changed. I caught her staring at me a few times, like she wanted to say something. But what's left to say after trust walks out the door? She once asked in a whisper, "Are we gonna be okay?" I looked at her. Not angry. Not even sad. Just tired. And said nothing. Because some questions don't deserve answers. Not anymore. The silence between us said more than any fight ever could. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't punishment. It was the beginning of goodbye. There's this moment. Quiet. Unremarkable. You're not crying. You're not angry. No thunder, no drama. Just a second where something inside you clicks. And you realize it's over. That moment came on a Thursday morning. She was in the shower. I stood in the living room, looking at the pile of her scripts. Post-its with notes from directors. Names I didn't recognize. Phone numbers I wasn't supposed to see. I picked up one page. It wasn't even hers. It was a guy's headshot, with a message scribbled in the corner. "Let's run lines again, tonight. After 10. No name. Just a phone number. And a wink. I put it back. Didn't say a word. But I knew. This wasn't my home anymore. She wasn't mine anymore. And maybe she never really had been. She was chasing something. Something shiny, something loud. The kind of dream that looks better on billboards than in real life. And me? I was just the guy holding the camera bag, making rent, picking up takeout while she tried on someone else's life. I loved the version of her who used to sit on the floor with me, reading lines at midnight, barefoot and full of hope. That girl? Gone. What was left wore designer jeans, fake lashes, and a face I didn't recognize. I packed a duffel bag. Just the essentials. Couple of shirts. Laptop. Toothbrush. One photo, the old one, from our first week in LA. Back when we had nothing but each other. I left the key on the counter. And a letter. Short. Honest. No flourishes. "You chose Hollywood. I chose myself." That was it. I didn't wait for her to come out of the shower. Didn't leave a voicemail. Didn't text. I just walked out, got in my car, and drove south. San Diego felt like air after being underwater. My buddy Chris opened the door and didn't say anything. Just pulled me into a hug. He knew. We sat on his balcony that night, drinking beer and watching the ocean. I told him everything. And he just nodded. "You gave her everything, man," he said. "She cashed it in for a spotlight." Yeah. But I wasn't bitter. Not anymore. I felt clean. Like I'd stepped out of a costume I didn't realize I'd been wearing. She wanted a life with cameras and casting calls. I wanted someone who still remembered how to say my name when the lights were off. We were never the same dream. Just two people who met at the intersection of love and timing. And now? Now we were just done. 6 months later. I was in San Diego, still crashing at Chris's place, but already settling into my new life. New job, freelance, remote. New rhythm, morning runs, coffee by the beach, silence that didn't hurt anymore. And then, you know those moments when curiosity gets the better of you? I typed her name into YouTube. There it was. The film. The big debut. The dream she gave everything for. It had 4,000 views. I watched the first few minutes. Same partner. Same forced chemistry. Same shallow lines I once helped her rehearse in our kitchen. But now it all felt hollow. Like a student film pretending to be something it wasn't. She was trying so hard to shine, but the light wasn't hitting. The comments? Mostly spam. One guy asking where to buy the jacket the actor wore. No one even mentioned her performance. I closed the tab. Didn't feel vindicated. Didn't feel sad. Just empty. A few days later, I came across her Instagram. It popped up in Explore. Algorithms got a cruel sense of humor. Same face. Same angles. Only now, she was promoting an energy drink. In a gold bodysuit. Holding a can. Smiling like she just found the secret to happiness in taurine and artificial citrus. Caption said, "Chasing dreams, staying energized. Sparkles collision hashtag on my grind." No red carpet. No premiere. Just hotel gyms and TikTok filters. And that guy, the one from the set? He was still around. They posted a reel of themselves lip-syncing to some 2000s love song in a parking garage. He wrote, "Couldn't ask for a better scene partner." Right. Scene partner. I didn't judge. Not really. But I realized something. Hollywood didn't change her. It just revealed her. She thought fame was a staircase. Turned out to be a treadmill. All flash. No forward. And me? I stopped checking after that. Some people spend their lives chasing an image. I'd rather live something real, even if it's quieter. I wasn't angry. I just understood. The spotlight she wanted? It didn't want her back. Now I live in Austin. Got a decent job in IT. Nothing fancy, but it pays the bills and gives me peace of mind. Most mornings, I ride my bike along the lake. Helmet, podcast, sunrise. Simple things. And you know what? I'm okay. Sometimes, yeah, I think about LA. About those dusty streets of North Hollywood. The cheap apartment we used to call our castle. Sometimes I even remember her. How her eyes lit up when she talked about making it. How I believed in that dream, maybe more than she ever did. But it doesn't hurt anymore. There's no bitterness. No hate. Just a kind of quiet understanding. She made her choice. She chose that city, its lights, its lies, its illusions. And me? I chose myself. I don't follow her anymore. Don't check her social media. Don't ask mutual friends how she's doing. Whatever chapter she's writing now, it's not mine. I've got my own story. It doesn't have agents or red carpets. But it's mine. And it's real. And if I ever hear the name Hollywood again, I just smile. Not because I miss it, but because I made it out. With my soul intact. No applause. No spotlights. Just clear skies. And that, my friend, is more than enough.